And now we are going to do cell division and reproduction part 2! So, we don't want to age. We don't want to get old. But what is aging? It is the progressive degeneration of the body's homeostatic adaptive response. AKA, we can't maintain homeostasis. We can't maintain temperature. We can't maintain diet, oxygen supply, and your body starts breaking down. Geriatrics is the medical field of elderly care. We see signs of aging with gray hair, tooth loss, wrinkled skin, or collagen degeneration, decreased muscle mass, decrease in the osteocytes, which are going to be bone cell production. You've maybe heard of osteoporosis. Increased fat deposit, and the inability to move due to the loss of elasticity in our body. Now, normal cells divide when we receive a growth factor and when they're anchored to something. So they actually must be anchored to something before they can actually start dividing. And they typically stop when they've hit a barrier or when they've hit another cell. This is known as density-dependent growth. Now, cancer does not do that. So what is cancer? It is defined as uncontrolled cell growth. The control mechanisms that keep the cell from dividing when touching another cell and when dividing without a signal have stopped working. They begin to divide rapidly, taking over resources of the surrounding cells. Cells may divide rapidly and do not have enough organelles or mitochondria to keep functioning correctly. They compete with other normal cells for space and nutrients. And the normal cells, unfortunately, most of the time die or decrease. Now, metastasize. When we say a cancerous tumor has metastasized, it means that it is spread from one area of the body to another. A cancer cell breaks off of one tumor and typically moves into either our lymph system or our blood vessel system and moves to another side of the body and starts creating a growth or a tumor there. Now, what causes cancer? Carcinogens is the mutations that causes cancer, such as alcohol, drugs, smoking, sexual irresponsibility. We have chemicals in the environment, asbestos, pesticides, secondary smoking, UV rays, diseases, and viruses. We also have family history, as in genetics, than which you have inherited a DNA mutation. Now, characteristics of cancer. You lack differentiation. They are basically immortal, and they repeat dividing, and normal cells do not repair the mutation. They are non-specialized, therefore they have no purpose, but they take up nutrients, but they're not doing what the body needs it to do. They have abnormal nuclei. Like I said before, as it becomes cancerous, more and more DNA mutations occur, and they do not fix them. They also may have excess chromosomes. In forming tumors, an abnormal mass invade the surrounding tissues and disrupt the normal cellular mitosis. They take away nutrients, they take away space, and they don't allow the other cells around them to actually function. Tumors, cells dividing uncontrollably and produce an excess of tissue. Benign tumors are not cancerous. They do not spread to other parts of the body. They grow very slowly and generally are not harmful. Now, if the size and weight get to large proportions, it can press down on nearby blood vessels and nerves and organs and cause a problem then, but the mass themselves is typically not harmful. The other type of tumors are known as malignant tumors, and these can be fatal. These are cancerous cells that compete with the normal cells for nutrients, blood, and energy, and eventually cause the other cells to atrophy or die. Now, when these types of cells break off and spread through the blood system and the lymphatic system to other parts of the body, we have said that they have metastasized. So again, metastasize means that a piece has broken off and spread to another portion of the body. And that is going to be with a malignant tumor. Types of cancer. Normally, a lot of the times, where the cancer attacks is going to be the name of the cancer, such as we have a normal prostate, and when the prostate tissues become cancerous, it is known as prostate cancer. That's not always the case. We have some specialized names for some of them, and let's take a look. Melanoma, which is the destruction of the melanocytes in the skin. Sarcoma, which is muscle or connective tissue cancer. We have lymphoma, which is destruction of the lymph nodes. We have carcinoma, which is a malignant tumor that arises from epithelial cells, or our skin cells or surface cells. And then we have leukemia, which is destruction of the leukocytes, or the white blood cells. Now, common terms that you may hear with cancer. We have necrosis, or death of a large group of cells. Atrophy, the decrease in cellular size or corresponding organs or tissues. Neoplasm, which is an abnormal formation or growth. Biopsy, which is a removal and microscopic examination of tissues from the body.
Holy shnikes!
We tend to use larger needles to actually pull out a piece of that tissue. Viral diseases associated with cancer. We see HIV, or the human immunodeficiency virus, which directly attacks the T helper cells that are responsible for stimulating the antibodies, or the lymphocytes. Epstein-Barr virus, now y'all know this as mononucleosis, or the kissing disease, can attack the white blood cells and in the lymphatic system, leading to Hodgkin's disease. Hepatitis B virus affects the flow of the fluids or bile through the liver. And herpes simplex 2 can cause cervical cancer. Treatment. Chemotherapy is the use of chemicals to kill cancerous cells. Now, normally chemotherapy will target those rapidly dividing cells, but not all rapidly dividing cells are going to be cancerous cells. You may have some cells in your body that are needing to replenish and divide and repair. So chemotherapy is good, but it doesn't always target the specific cancer cells. Now, radiation is the use of photons or charged particles to damage the DNA of the cancerous cells. It is specifically targeted at the cancerous cells. Now, chemotherapy and radiation typically go together a lot of the time. You may hear somebody doing alternative therapies, going in for chemotherapy one week, radiation the next week, to try to target those specific cells. Surgery is another option, and you try to remove as much of the tumor as possible. The scary thing is that if you do not remove all of it, even one cancerous cell can cause that mass to come back up and regrow. What I've got for you. Bye.